Hello and welcome to the eighth episode of the Dugout podcast. I'm your host, Alexander Cruikshanks. I'm back. I was away previously for the last episode, travelling to Fuerteventura, where I'm currently based, as you can see by the giant fan in the background. But yeah, that's where I am, and I'm back. I'm excited to be back, joined by my two co-hosts, Laurie Finlayson and Ethan Barlow. First of all, Laurie, how you doing? How you enjoying the Euros?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, we're not as good as you, Alex. Sunning yourself in Forteventura. However, getting to watch football every day has been great. Obviously, the Euros are on a little bit of a break now with the round of 16 being, dealt with. But watching football every day is great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's when it gets to those latter stages, you're kind of like, oh, no game today. You know that you're a bit disappointed, but it
Mm.
has been good. A lot of good games. But but yeah, sorry, Ethan. What about yourself? You been enjoying it?
Yeah, yeah. I've been doing good. And yeah, it's been a good tournament. As I've mentioned in the last episode about the format, I think it does take away a bit of some of the games where they get a wee bit too tactical. But overall, I think it's
Hmm.
been a solid tournament with some great matches and great goals.
Hmm.
Now we're getting down to the real big guns fighting it out to see
Yeah,
who's going to be champion.
yeah. So we'll just dive right into it. We're going to be talking about SPFL transfer news today as well. But obviously, we need to talk about this is a football podcast. We need to talk about the Euros, the big thing happening in football right now. We'll just jump into it. Round of 16 concluded yesterday. A lot of interesting games, some big results, some great escapes from England in particular, who weren't good. I was I kind of jumping into it, but they weren't good. And yeah, great goal from Jude Bellingham, and they managed to get through in extra time. But and I don't know about England. I just think the squad that they have, they should be blowing teams away. And I can't tell if it's the players not playing for Southgate or if it's Southgate's system that is letting them down because they're really negative. You look at all their games. I don't think they've won by more than a goal
Yeah,
You're
in all
you're
their
right.
games off the top of my head, and that's because they go in front and then they shut up shop and they become really negative, and that can come back to bite them. It almost did against Denmark in the group stages. But yeah, I just want to come. I'll come to you first, Ethan, just to get your thoughts on England.
yeah. As you said, they got there in the end with that Jude Bellingham. Well, just yeah, Jude Bellingham this season really writing his own script, as he said. And then that Harry Kane winner. But as you said, it was a few minutes of glory that got them through either side of full time whistle. And I think they will have to be a lot better against Switzerland. And I think Switzerland are possibly by far the best team they would have played so far this tournament. They're going to have to step it up if they want to get through because, um, as you said, one goal, they're squeaking their way through the tournament, but they're getting through the tournament. And if they win it at the end and they've only won each game by one goal, then I don't think any of the English fans will care. But yeah, they'll
Yeah,
need to be a lot better.
it's not quite as like scraping by, but when you talk about England and the way that they're just sort of squeezing their way through games and they might win it. You think about Portugal in 2016. That's what I think about. I think they won one game in 90 minutes, and that
Yep,
was
that's
the
correct.
semis. They got through the groups. I know England haven't been as bad as that, but the way they're playing just makes me think about that. And yeah, with these players, Laurie, they should be performing much better, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they really should. I mean, no wonder if you're an England fan, you're frustrated because if you look at that squad, and maybe it's hard to say as Scotsman, but it's the truth. They're one of the strongest teams in the tournament, goes without saying almost. And I remember watching them. It was whilst I was in Germany. Actually, I remember watching them in their first game, against Serbia, and then yeah, they scraped by 1-0. But another day, they could have drawn that game easily, and maybe we could have been talking about a group stage exit, or even maybe going through the group, maybe taking a third rather than somehow finishing top. And me saying somehow finishing top of the group is maybe a bit harsh, but he did, and that's what mattered at the end of the day. And as for Sunday, I mean, Jude Bellingham's goal, I mean, fair play to him. What a goal that is. There's a solid chance that will be goal of the tournament. But you know,
Mm,
England, there's nothing really that inspires confidence other than maybe what you just said about previous tournaments with Portugal arguably winning the tournament in this fashion, well, 8 years ago.
hmm Definitely.
As much as that, I'm now thinking the COVID Euros has thrown me, but anyway,
Yeah, it was 8 years ago. Yeah, um, makes it is weird. It doesn't feel like it, but I was 11 at the time of those Euros.
yeah,
It doesn't feel like it.
mental. No,
You feel like you were older. I don't know. But
no, I'm the
yeah,
same.
I was 11. So yeah, the two games on the Saturday, I was travelling during that time, so I didn't see any of them. Switzerland beat Italy. That didn't really surprise me. Switzerland, obviously, we held them to a draw, but they've got quality. And Italy, their squad isn't great, in my opinion. Germany, the hosts, beating Denmark. I didn't see that either, but they're also one of the prime candidates to go on and win this tournament. I'll come to you, Laurie. We're in the Germany top. What do you think?
Yeah, so Germany were comfortable in saying that. Denmark weren't bad, but Germany were, comfortable, worthy winners. In the end, probably the biggest story from that game, and even though you've been abroad, Alex, and maybe didn't catch this game, you'll have saw this. Uh, the game was also delayed for probably a good half an hour because there was torrential rain and thunder and lightning at Sigma Iduna Park, of
Yeah,
course,
did see
famous for
that.
its
Yeah,
yellow wall. And for anyone listening to this who hadn't seen how bad the lightning and stuff actually got, have a look on YouTube because it was actually quite scary. Like the sky was the sky was actually black. I don't know even if you were watching it live at the time, but it was mental and it's a mental game when you think as well. It was Clive Tilsley's last commentary for ITV, and I tell you what, it's one that we'll remember.
yeah, definitely. Ethan, did you manage to catch that game?
I caught bits of it. I was on work, but I caught the best bits of it on my break. And I seen the just before half time, that weird kind of strange 10-minute period, which in between the restart of the game and half time, which was played at a much better pace than I expected it to be. And Denmark had some great chances in that time. Rasmus Højlund. But the start of the second half, really, Denmark fell on the wrong side of small margins, I would say, especially with the offside goal that they scored. Um, Half a boot, but at the end of the day, it is offside. And then the
Hmm
handball for the penalty, I think's very harsh on Anderson, who had two unlucky moments in the matter of minutes. But Germany, they can't do anything about it. It's not their fault. And they took care of Denmark and were probably deserved winners. And
Yeah,
they'll have confidence going into the next game.
yeah. That we'll get on to that, but that next game will be a big one. So going back to the Sunday, we spoke about England, Spain dispatching Georgia comfortably in the end. Georgia took a surprise lead, and we all thought, no way. But Spain went, yeah, you're right, there is no way, turned it around. This Spain team are exciting. I remember, so my grandpa actually spoke to me about Belgium because he's not really super into football, but he listens to the radio a lot. He was talking about Belgium with he thought they were going to win the tournament because he's been hearing about the younger generation coming through. And I said to him, "You're right, but right now they're sort of caught between the previous generation and the new generation. Um, Spain are in a similar scenario, but they have managed to get it to work. And I think these young players they've got are really they're bringing the energy, and you can just see player and the older players like Morata and Carvajal bringing the experience as well. And I just think it's a great. I really like Spain. It's a great combination to have. Um, Personally, I think they're going to win it right now. I know I've just got. I probably didn't say that at the start. I think I might have said Portugal at the start. I think Spain, they just look the best so far. Um, and that game, they really showed their quality. I know Georgia aren't the best team on paper, but they've showed they can give teams a game. They beat Portugal. I know that it didn't mean anything. It was the last game for Portugal. They were through, but Georgia didn't. It didn't mean nothing to Georgia. So yeah, the way they obviously went behind, but turned it around so easily. I think Spain are really in with a shout of winning this tournament. Um, and this team they've got are really they're on the same wavelength with each other. It's a good squad, and I just want to see Ethan what your thoughts on Spain are and how far you think they can go.
Yeah, I managed to catch the Spain Georgia match, and it was just a brilliant, really football spectacle by Spain. Just like almost in a day in days of tactical football where it's slow and passing, and they're just a brilliant team to watch. They've got two brilliant wingers who are probably two of the most exciting players in the tournament. The confidence they have, both of them at such a young age, despite Nico Williams being 5 years, maybe 4 years older than Yamal at 21.
I thought
But
Nico Williams was 19. I don't want
no,
to
21.
really.
Yeah, and Yamal obviously 16. But they've had other players brilliant. Rodri, obviously, just one of the best players in the world at the moment, and Fabian Ruiz has really showed up for this tournament.
Yeah, definitely.
And
He's one I forgot to mention. He's been really good. I always forget about Fabian Ruiz because I feel like when players go to PSG, they're just kind of floating about. You forget about them. He's a top class player. Sorry to cut in there, but yeah,
no,
Fabian
not
Ruiz.
at all. But my point on Fabian Ruiz was that, and watching PSG in the Champions League and maybe the few games of Liga and I've watched him in, I've never seen him play this level. I think he's been one of he'd definitely be in a shout for a team of the tournament position so far. And I think another thing in that midfield three of him, Rodri, and Pedri is I don't think we've seen the best of Pedri yet. I think I think he got taken off quite early in the last game, but I don't think he's really lived up to his maximum potential. And I think if he does against Germany, then they could blow the Germans away, despite how good Germany have been so far.
Yeah. Laurie, quickly, your Spanish thoughts.
Okay, I'm not going to literally do them in Spanish, but I do have a higher in it. But anyway, I think it goes back to a lot of what you two have said about Spain. This Spanish team, we're yet to see it hit its peak yet, both arguably at this tournament, and even, in the future. Like, what, what are the Spain team going to look like by the time we get the 2026 World Cup? when these guys are that well, a little bit older, but they're still, young, fresh, and dynamic enough to be seen as
Feel
a
so
kind of like
old.
youthful
In
force.
2026, your man will be 18.
Yeah. But that's it. 18, but arguably the most experienced 18-year-old in the world. So,
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
so that this Spanish team are going to be scary by the time they get to that point. So I mean, yeah, and like yourself, Alex, I'm starting to think that they might go on and win it. I mean, I originally backed France, who will get on to shortly, but I think
Hmm.
Spain are certainly in with a shout, and of course the quarterfinals, which we'll get to, make things very, very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned France there. Nice segue. Um, so France Belgium, boring. I thought
Yeah.
not a very good game of football. But France, they've, I'm doing this off the top of my head, but they've scored 3 goals, I think. 2 of them have been own goals, and one has been a penalty. Come back to you again, Laurie. Do you think that's an area of concern uh, for Mbappe and co?
I think it definitely is an area of concern. I think, just thinking off the top of my head, I think you're right because obviously, um, on Monday it was definitely an own goal from Jan Vertonghen, who I can't believe still playing for Belgium. Um, but
I
there
couldn't
you
believe
go.
it either.
But it is a worry for France because they're a good side. They're maybe in a similar scenario to England where you get frustrated watching them because you're like, you're one of the best teams at this tournament, and you've got the squad kind of depth wise to be able to cope with this, but they seem to be kind of struggling. And obviously, and I'm not gonna get into like theories or anything here, but you wonder with Kylian Mbappe playing with the mask on, you wonder if even that might not be helping.
Yeah, well, he
You don't,
did say he doesn't like it, didn't he? I'm
Yeah, he
not
yeah, I
did.
just
think he
pulling
did.
that out of thin air. He says it's quite
No,
difficult
no,
to
I
play
think he
with a
did.
mask.
And, and I don't doubt it is, but I tell you what, if France do kick into gear and he scores, say, the winning goal in, say, the semi-final or even the final, that mask is going to become iconic.
Yeah, definitely. I know this is like weird, but do you think his mask's a bit thick? Like for like
Um,
seeing out of his peripheral vision and that, like
well, it depends what one you're talking about because I think he had a new kind of mask, didn't he, for the Belgium game, which he hadn't worn before.
the
It
black,
was
yeah, is it the black one you're talking about?
Yeah, the black
yeah, but
one.
he had like something behind his head, which I wasn't sure what that was.
Yeah, I thought the one in the Belgium game it looked a bit a bit thick, like
Yeah.
how can he? Because every mask, as long as I can remember, when I think of footballers wearing masks, I think of Cesc Fabregas, right? That was like molded onto his face, so
Hmm.
he could basically like see. But I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up, and it's a bit of a weird point to
No,
bring
I,
up.
I, I don't think you are. I think you're right enough.
But yeah, but I back to talking about the actual football. Ethan, France, like I came to Laurie about, saying that's an area of concern for them.
Yeah, I mean, definitely 3 goals scored. I think they've only conceded one, and it was a penalty. So, yeah, France certainly aren't the most entertaining team to watch. You could
No,
put it that way. 4 goals in 4 games. Yeah, it's not looking very good for them. But I could still very easily see them snapping into gear and winning this tournament. I think on paper they've got the best defence and goalkeeper. We've obviously got a great midfield with N'Golo Kante still playing, even though he's obviously left Chelsea for Saudi.
oh yeah, see N'Golo Kante, like he's the one. When I've watched them, I'm like, why is this guy out in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah,
He's clearly
yeah,
still world class. It's unbelievable. Because
Yeah,
I remember I spoke to you when the France squad got announced, and I was like, why is Kante in the France squad? That's
yeah,
why he's in the France squad. He's been brilliant. But
yeah,
aye, and we'll move on to I believe their opponents in the next round. Portugal drew 0-0 with Slovenia. Ronaldo missed a penalty, but well, but the main man for from this game was Portugal's goalkeeper, Diogo Costa. Superb save in extra time. Although it was a great save, Sesko should have scored, definitely.
Yeah.
But great save. And then to save three penalties was absolutely mental. I didn't think it was a great game. I find myself saying that a lot about the Euros, but that was something else. All-time goalkeeping performance, in my opinion, Laurie. And yeah, what you have to say about Costa?
Yeah, pretty much echoing what you just said. I was just thinking 2 minutes ago when Ethan said about the France goalkeeper being the best keeper at the tournament. I don't really think it is. I might be butchering the France goalkeeper's name now. I don't think it is Meg one. I don't think he is the best keeper at the tournament. I really don't. Diogo Costa's certainly beating him. I mean, saving three penalties. And I mean, for what it's worth, when you think about it, Portugal against Slovenia, you could argue that's maybe the two best keepers at the tournament. You could probably make a case for Jan Oblak on paper. And of course, he did save Ronaldo's penalty in extra time, which of course did bring out some tears from CR7, which,
Hmm.
I mean, has caused a lot of controversy. But I mean, in fairness to Ronaldo, right? Maybe going off on a bit of a tangent here, but in fairness to Ronaldo, he is carrying the expectations of a nation on his shoulders at the age of 39. Granted, he probably should have got off the mark goal scoring wise at this tournament, let that be clear. But, you know, he is 39 at the end of the day, and for 39, he's not doing too bad.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You can see he's not the same. He's not got the same energy, but he's a
Yeah,
leader out there. I think he's taken on that role more. As he's got older, he's accepted that he's maybe not the best player on the team anymore, but
yeah.
he's got things that others don't, and he can help his team. But yeah, Ethan, Diogo
yeah.
Costa.
No, no, brilliant. I wasn't. By the way, I wasn't saying Magnam was the best goalkeeper at the tournament. I was saying best like combined defensive unit. I think France do have the best combined defensive unit, but Diogo Costa might have overtaken the man who I said was goalkeeper of the tournament so far in the last tournament. Although the Georgia goalkeeper Mamar Dashvili,
He
bit of a
deserves a
mouthful.
shout.
Yeah, he
The
had another
Georgian
great
Wall.
game. He had another great game against Spain. I'm sure there'll be teams around Europe trying to pick him up from Valencia. But yeah, Diogo Costa, a brilliant goalkeeping display. Especially just like the Benjamin Sesko chance came out of nowhere. Really, it was all Portugal pushing and Pepe, bless him, at his old age, he just didn't have the
Yeah.
legs in him to go through extra time, and he was spared his blushes, as was Ronaldo, as you have said. I
Hmm.
think Ronaldo. I think the tears may possibly come from him realizing that maybe he's not that player anymore, and maybe he's not that guy who's going to carry Portugal to a championship, but he'll still have every belief that he can do, knowing the elite mentality he obviously has.
So the last two games from yesterday, Romania, Netherlands. Romania were quite good up until Netherlands scored the first goal, I thought. But Netherlands, they had a lot of chances and they ran out comfortable winners in the end. However, I don't. They're interesting because they've got good players, but I don't feel like they're the players you'd expect to perform or performing, with the exception of Cody Gakpo, who I think's been brilliant. Um, Mavis Depay hasn't been good. Xavi Simons hasn't been good. You can
Mm,
maybe he
he
hasn't
was
been great.
he got 2 assists yesterday, although he did miss a massive chance. So
And then
yeah, he has been mixed.
and then you could argue about the goal he should have got in the group stage, but
Yeah,
You can't give Malin's second goal as an assist.
yeah.
No, you can. He just passes it to him. Malin runs all the way.
All right. Okay, fair enough. Not fair enough. That's a good point.
But Daniel Malin, you can make a case for him starting. He's been good. But Netherlands comfortable in the end. I don't really have a lot to say about this game. Any of you guys?
not really.
Um,
Other than to give Romania a little bit of credit, as they played well up until the Netherlands scored. Plus, it was their first knockout game, I think, since I think it was 2002 World Cup. So give Romania a little bit of credit, despite obviously the
You're a
two
smarter
names
man than
there.
me. I didn't know that.
yeah, I think.
I could be wrong.
Oh, sorry to interrupt there. I think I was just going to say I think that might have been the Netherlands' best performance yet. Um, and I think they're getting better as the tournament goes on. Although I still don't think Ronald Koeman knows his best 11. With Donny O'Malley's definitely going to give him a head scratcher as to who will start in the quarters. But yeah.
hmm On to the next game. Austria Turkey. This was a really good game, end to end stuff. Ethan, your dark horses, I believe, defeating mine. But it was a really good game, and either team could have came out on top. I'll just come to you, Laurie. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it was an unbelievable start. I mean, it didn't take Turkey long to get in front of us all. Don't know how many seconds it was. Don't have that stat in front of me, but I mean, Turkey Turkey actually surprised me in in this game because through the group I thought they've been all right, but everyone's been quite rightly raving about Austria. So I was expecting, maybe not a comfortable win for Austria, but I thought Austria are going to be favourites here, but Turkey came out and got the result they were, so the everyone, of course, the Amal were pleased to have got both the goals, including, of course, one in the opening seconds. So must have been one of the quickest goals in Euros history, to be
I think
fair.
it was the quickest, actually. I saw it the other day as a stat. I think it was the quickest goal in the history of the Euros. Um, but good, like I said, really good game, end to end stuff. And as you mentioned there, Laurie was brilliant right from the start. Um, Now on to the quarterfinals. We're really getting into the uh, the best bits of the tournament, all the fun stuff, all the crazy group games and all that out the way, round of 16, maybe an element of unpredictability still there, but this is where we get down to the best teams going at each other to try and make it. These teams are all in with a chance of winning it. This is where it gets
Yeah.
serious. Some really big games. We'll do some quick fire predictions. So Spain versus the host Germany on Friday. Um, this is going to be a blockbuster, and I'm going to have to go with Spain. Come to you first, Laurie.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go with Spain as well, despite the shirt I'm wearing, despite having a German three-match shirt on. Got to go for Spain, I think. It was tight
Mm,
though.
yeah, definitely. Ethan.
Yeah, I think Spain will just edge it 2-1. I'm going for, but I do think whoever wins this will probably be the toughest team to beat for the other three in the semis.
Okay. Portugal, France. I think Portugal will beat France. Um, yeah. Ethan. you added in that wee element there. I'll give you my last score prediction because I didn't think to do that. I'll go 2-0 Spain and I'll go 3-1 to Portugal. Laurie, what do you think of this game?
Okay, so score prediction, right? So I'm gonna give Spain and Germany a fair few goals here. I'm gonna say 3-2 win
Oof,
for Spain. I'm gonna put goals
I'm
in this.
liking it.
Portugal, France, I think it'll be a bit more of a letdown in that regard. I'm gonna say 1-0 France.
And Ethan,
Yeah, I agree with Laurie. I think 1-0 France. I think both teams have been pretty toothless up front. But I just think France, I don't know, I just think they've got a more active killer up front. And I think Mbappe has got to come good at some point. Although his European Championship record's pretty poor, I think he'll get the only goal.
okay. England, Switzerland. I think England will wake up and win 2-0. Laurie,
Okay, so again, I think England will have to, kind of rise to the expectations of the fan. And I mean, there's plenty of them out there in Germany, so I'm going to slightly like, give them the result. I'm gonna say 2-1 England.
Ethan.
I'm going to be optimistic as a Scotland fan and say Switzerland will just edge it. I think England. Apparently Southgate's going to a back five with Mark Gahey suspended, and I think Switzerland have been really good across the tournament. I know they drew us, but I think they were kind of playing relatively looking for a point going into play Germany in the last game, and I think Switzerland will just edge it. I'm going for a win on penalties for Switzerland.
Win on penalties. Wow. Right. So Netherlands, Turkey. I'm going with Turkey. Just because I like a underdog story. So Turkey win on penalties. Laurie.
Okay. Um, this this one actually feels like the toughest to call. Like I mean, on paper, Netherlands are probably the better of the two sides, but you know what? Turkey have been decent. I think the Netherlands will do it. I'll say 2-1 to Netherlands, but I think it'll go to extra time.
Ethan.
No, I think the Netherlands will win pretty comfortably. I think the end of my dark horse will fall in the quarters. I
You've
think
got a
the
wee soft
Netherlands.
spot for the Netherlands, though, don't you?
Yeah, I did say they'd go to the final with France, which they're on a decent side of the bracket, so it could very well happen. I think actually I seen a percentage thing and it said Netherlands had the highest percentage to win the whole thing.
Well,
Um, I think Netherlands will win pretty comfortably. I'm going 2-0, 2 or 3-0.
Okay. Right. All that boring international stuff at the road now.
Yep.
We're getting on to the real stuff, the real top echelon of football, the SPFL. So, as the transfer window, we did a transfer show a while ago. So, we're just going to be sort of getting up to date on what's been happening for Celtic and Rangers. Maybe a bit of Kilmarnock stuff as well. Don't know if much been happening with Kilmarnock, but if there has been, you're welcome to throw that in there, Laurie. But yeah, obviously we've mentioned before the big two or the stuff that's in the headlines the most, and the people that they want to hear about it. A lot of people who listen and watch will be a fan of either club, so it's mainly what we'll be talking about. So we'll just dive right in to Celtic, and I'll come to you, Ethan, our resident expert. Um, has
Um,
there been much happening in the Celtic end of
um,
things?
Not really, but as we're recording, the Sky have just reported that Celtic have apparently went in for Adam Ida officially now. So hopefully that deal can speed up. Apparently they were different in evaluation. Celtic thought he would be worth about 5 million, Norwich about 8. But maybe similar to another player on the Rangers side we'll get on to. The Norwich City managers came in. Johannes Hoff Thorup is his name, and he obviously doesn't feel that he doesn't want Ida at Norwich next season. If Celtic are going to go in and try and take him off him, or maybe he does want Ida, and that's why they're valuing him at 8 million. But apart from that, it's all been kind of nothing very concrete and just whispers. And yeah, really not much happening.
That's a big contrast to what's been happening at Rangers. I just want to touch on what you said. We think we spoke about views going out for Ida previously, and how I think me and Laurie both thought 6 million was a bit steep for him. Would you pay 8?
No.
No,
I'd pay 5, but not 8. I think 5's a good valuation of him. He's not going to come in and be a starting striker unless he can displace Kyogo, which I think he can do. But he'll definitely, as he did this season, play massive parts in our trophy attempts in the league and the cups. And I would like to have him next season, but 8 million is a bit steep.
Yeah, I'll just come to you, Laurie. What do you make of that link and the price tag?
Yeah, I think the price tag is a bit steep. I think Sales were doing the right thing, of course, and going back in for him. And I mean, I don't think it surprised anybody because of how well he'd done on loan. I mean, I'm one of many people
Unfortunately.
that had to. Sorry, I'm one of many people that had to eat my words on it a little bit because I was just one of these people who doubted it and thought, what was they sending him on loan for? Why? What's Brendan Rodgers doing? But I tell you what, he did pretty well. And also, Alex, just touch on what you said. You're saying about Celtic and Rangers seem to be having, contrasting fortunes in the market. I mean, for me, as someone who doesn't support either of them, from a Celtic perspective, it's quite worrying because it looks like Celtic again are just sitting kind of almost resting on their laurels a little bit. And I mean, the only real concrete stuff we've seen is Celtic bringing a guy back they had last season. Would that be fair, Ethan?
Yeah. Obviously, we had the other loanee, Paulo Bernardo, who it seems like we managed to get that fee down from 6 million towards 3 and 4 million, which was probably a more appropriate fee. But then a few weeks back, there was apparently a stumbling block in the wage agreement. I don't think but looking at what I've seen, I don't think his wage is anything that should be a stumbling block. I think we've got a lot of players who are sitting on a wage packet that can be sold and to make up wage for them. I don't think that should really be a problem, and I think we will eventually get that deal done as well. But with 1 month away from the opening weekend of the season, it's a bit concerning. We've not signed one player yet.
This is a thing. Yeah, this is a thing as well, though. I think Celtic fans have been calling their board on for years. Um, the Celtic board seem to be of the opinion we win the league, we're all right. They don't want to progress in Europe. They don't want to try and build to become a better. If they win the league, the fans are happy. That's us. They might sign a couple of players just to appease the fans and go, look, we're bringing guys in, but they never do it with any real ambition. And I don't know if I'm way off base on that, but that seems like what's the age-old story, and it's happening again. You might be able to shed some light on that, Ethan, but I think that's what's happening.
No, I think that's the kind of general consensus between all Celtic fans. I think just a lack of ambition. Really, we want to be a team that at least challenges in the Champions League. Not saying we should go through, but at least kind of put up a fight. against teams that have kind of similar budgets to us, that are punching above their weight. But yeah, maybe they'll just roll through and they'll get loads of deals done before the transfer window ends. But yeah, it's not looking too good. Really quiet on the transfer front.
This is going to seem like this podcast is Rangers heavy, but that's because Rangers have been really active. So we'll go first to a couple of deals that look like they've fallen through. Kenny McLean looks like he won't be coming to Ibrox. He's been heavily linked past week or so. Personally, I didn't want him. He's a decent player, but he's old. His wages would have been high, and I didn't see the value he would bring. And another one that we have, that the deal was falling through. Bear with me on this. The name I'm not great at pronouncing. Yusuf Kabadaye of Bayern Munich. He was at Schalke on loan in the Bundesliga last season. Well, Bundesliga 2, sorry. He looks like he's agreed a deal with Augsburg, and he'll be heading there, which is disappointing considering it looked like he was wrapped up with us. But I think wage disagreements is what made it fall through. Now on to some exciting stuff. We've brought in Connor Barron. I'm very happy with that personally. Some issues going on there, maybe with compensation payments. Aberdeen not happy with it. Again, something they've taken issue with Rangers again over something. Connor Barron is a top talent, so fair enough. If they think they should be getting more for him, they should get more for him. But I think we paid them the standard. Not we, sorry. I'm thinking like a fan. Neutral. I think Rangers paid them the standard compensation, so I don't think there should be an issue there. I think they're threatening to take us to a tribunal, but I don't see what basis they'd have for that. I'll just come to you, Laurie, and get your thoughts on that scenario.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. I think they would only go to the tribunal as a last resort if Aberdeen and Rangers can't settle it outside of said tribunal. I mean, Aberdeen have the experience of being on a side of that as well because they had to go through a tribunal when they signed Lewis Ferguson from Hamilton Accies. It went to a tribunal, so I mean, Aberdeen have got previous experience of being on the other side, of being in Rangers' shoes, if you will. But hopefully it doesn't get to that stage. I'm sure, Rangers fans would agree on that. And I'm sure even Aberdeen don't really want it to go as far as a tribunal because it's, probably unnecessary admin and paperwork, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. But at the end of the day, Connor Barron's on the door, so whatever happens with that, he's a Rangers player, and I think he'll be important. I can't remember what happened last time we sort of talked. So there's a few guys that have been brought in. Hefty looked like he was coming in January. Apoel wouldn't release him from the loan. So he's come in the summer, young Brazilian left back. I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about him, but if everyone says this, I've seen the YouTube clips, but he looks good from what I've seen of him. And he's this type of profile I think we should be going for. Clinton Enciala, a young defender, French defender from the AC Milan academy, hasn't made a professional appearance, but he looks like a bit of a physical beast, and he looks really good on the ball from what I've seen. Seen of him as a player, and yeah, another player who fits in that profile, and I'm happy with. Oscar Cortez, loan with an obligation to buy, so he will be a Rangers player. I'm fairly happy with that because he looked good until he got his unfortunate season-ending injury and the death trap that is Rugby Park. But nah, we joke about that, Laurie. But yeah, he did get it there, and it's happened to a few
Yeah,
players over the years, so you can understand.
yeah. We've got 99 problems, but the pitch ain't one. So,
But yeah. So Liam Kelly as well. Forgetting about him, good backup in my opinion. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about that. After, uh, but yeah, but that brings us to those are all the players we brought in, I believe, and that brings us to Hamza Igamani. Probably pronouncing that wrong. Moroccan striker, 21 years old, and can play across the front line. He plays in the Moroccan league, and last night, well, yesterday morning, the rumours were the deal was done. He was coming into Rangers, and last night he posted a goodbye to his club on his Instagram, so it looks like he will be a Rangers player. Don't know much about him, but like I mentioned earlier, he's the profile I want. Ethan, I think you mentioned to when we were just talking about it, we seem to be going down the route of trying to find hidden gems. Um, and I like that strategy, but I think you've got to mix it in with some guarantees as well. I don't know if this guy will be a guarantee, but I'm willing to give him a chance, and I'm excited to see him play for Rangers. I'll just come to you, Ethan. What do you think the thoughts are on this? What are your thoughts on this signing?
I think it's. I think it. Well, obviously, I don't know if it'll be a good signing because I don't know much about the players. Most of the players, obviously, I've seen a lot of Conor Barron playing in Scotland, and a bit of Oscar Cortez last season. I think that they're good signings. How much Conor Barron will play in this first season? How much do you think he'll play, Alex, and starting role?
Um, I'm not sure to be honest, because our midfield's a bit. It's kind of like it's at a new start. It's transitioning out of the old midfield is fully gone now. So it'll be interesting, I think, to see. But I think he'll definitely will play a significant role. I don't think he'll be bench warming all season, if that's what you were meaning. But I think he will. I don't know if he'll start, but I think he'll play an important role in the season.
Yeah, yeah, I think it'll definitely have a massive contribution on the season, on Rangers' season. But yeah, it's just must be nice to actually get some signings in. Um,
It's been
because
exciting.
Celtic,
It's been exciting. We all love it as
because
football fans.
yeah, because Celtic, although we no understatement, we don't need as much work as Rangers obviously did after the past season and the amount of players that left. It still needs definitely some work done and goals. We've only got one really recognised left back at the club. Bernabe is still out on loan. Even still, I think he'll be sold. And we still haven't addressed the centre back issue. We have loads of centre backs, which most of them don't get any minutes as previous internationals. And then
Can I
we
ask
need a
something
strike.
quickly? Has James McCarthy's contract expired yet?
No, he's got another year on his deal.
a year, I think, didn't I? I know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that's got to be one of the worst signings ever.
No,
Yeah,
no, it's got to be. I mean, if
You
you
were talking
are,
about wages earlier. He's probably picking up a, a massive amount of money. Maybe if he wasn't on your books, you could bring Bernardo in.
definitely.
but that's a valid point. As much as you're joking, that is very much a valid point. I mean, because I'm not saying he'll be one of Celtic's highest paid. He won't be, but he'll definitely not be one of your lowest paid. And what does he contribute? Are we as opposing fans harsh on McCarthy, or does he literally contribute nothing as we think he does?
No, he doesn't. He's not. He's barely played. Well, he's not played a game, and I can't remember if he even played a game this season. He might have done.
Does he even train?
I think he does train occasionally when he's not injured, but he is just stealing a wage at Celtic, and probably, as you said, he won't be. He'll be middle of the pack, and the Paulo Bernardo fee that I'm looking at for his wage, the now was is probably middle of the road as well. With 17 grand a week, so
Right.
it's a decent wage, but for someone you're signing from Benfica, um, who's a solid player, I don't really see why that would be a problem. Because there's loads of players we can cut off a bit of the wage strain. Definitely, and
Aye.
especially with some of the
And on
other
that weekend,
rumours
he's a
that we're linked with.
solid player. Sorry, he's a solid player, Bernardo, with good selling value, whereas McCarthy doesn't have that. So it feels like a no-brainer.
Excuse
Yeah.
me. Yeah, definitely. But back to Rangers and the transfer mill. So Hamza Gamani looks like he's coming in. I've just seen a report pop up. Cyril Desters is attracting interest from clubs in Saudi Arabia, France, and Spain, as well as Pauk from Greece. And Rangers have placed a £4.5 million price tag. This is from Chris Jack. He's quite a reliable source from. He seems to get a lot of his information from within the club. So, £4.5 million price tag as they look to recoup the fee they paid for the striker last summer. Um, I think that's. I don't think we should let him go. It's weird because
No, I wouldn't. No, I
although he
wouldn't
wasn't
want him
great,
to.
we look like we're repeating the mistake of releasing, no, not releasing, getting rid of the only striker who actually scored goals. I know he was a meme, and I know he missed loads of chances. He scored 21 goals last season, and
Absolutely.
I think we might be making a mistake getting rid of him.
And I thought he would have learned that mistake with Antonio Cholak, but clearly not.
No, no, definitely not. But uh, I think that would be silly to lose him like that because we've got Danilo coming back, but you don't know what he's going to be like. We never really saw a lot of him because of his injuries, his face fracture, and then his season-ending injuries. So I don't know. Uh, but what was I going to talk about next? Yes, Todd Cantwell. Todd Cantwell's agent, former Liverpool player, um, was it Jose Enrique?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Um, DM'd Lecce to try and get Cantwell to go there, to try to offer Cantwell to Lecce in Italy. However, he made the blunder of DMing a Lecce fan account who then released it. It is all over Twitter. It's hilarious, but it looks like Todd Cantwell could be trying to make his way out of Rangers. Um, and to be honest, I'm indifferent. If he stayed, fine. If he left, fine. But this is all time. This is top quality Scottish football.
Yeah.
I'll just
I
come
mean,
to you, Laurie. What would you make of this?
I don't know what they would call it now because the sponsorship's done, but it is what they would have called peak cinch in the past. But but yes, it's just one of these crazy Scottish football stories. Like I didn't really know that agents would be using Twitter DMs to get in touch with clubs. I thought maybe LinkedIn at an absolute push. But anyway, I wouldn't have thought Twitter. But there we are. Giving it to a Lecce fan account is just an easy way to get it leaked to the press, and so it has happened. As for if Todd Cantwell leaves, I think, and I'm not trying to annoy Rangers fans here, I think quite a lot of Scottish football will be quite happy if we're to leave. I mean, he's not the most well-respected player by other clubs. Maybe something because of the way he acts or whatever. But I mean, he is a good footballer. But I don't really know. Maybe that's why you're indifferent, Alex. I don't really
If
know
he
if
was
Philip
bald, he wouldn't
likes
get the
him.
abuse.
Say that again.
If he was bald, he wouldn't get the abuse.
I have to
Oh,
disagree with that
I've not
one.
really thought about the hair before.
He can just act like he acts like, right, he does act like that on the pitch and all that, but a bit rude, a bit rowdy. But if he was bald, everyone would think he was a hard man and he'd think that'd be class. But because he's got the long blonde hair, everyone makes fun of him and everyone's like, oh, he thinks he's hard. He's basically I don't know. Don't take this out of context, please. No one, but it's like Scott Brown,
I
right?
don't think it is. I
No,
don't
no,
think it is.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Um, I was afraid you were gonna Ethan, especially Ethan, there was gonna go mental and say I was comparing Todd Cantwell to Scott Brown, but it's if Scott Brown had long blonde flowing whatever with a headband and all that,
Yeah.
no one would take him.
I mean,
He wouldn't
Scott
be
Brown
seen as the
himself
hard
has
man, as
spoken about
the
that.
What'd you say, Laurie?
Scott Brown himself has spoken about that lately because, as you probably noticed, since he's hung up his boots, he's grown the hair back, and he admitted relatively
Yeah,
recently that he only shaved it off so that he looked like the hard
look
man.
at Ethan's face.
No, the massive difference between Todd Cantwell and Scott Brown is not including hair. That Scott Brown was comfortably the best player in his position for years. Todd Cantwell has been poor and been inconsistent for seasons upon seasons at Rangers.
What seasons
For
has he
however
been
long.
here for a season and a half? You don't even know what you're talking about.
Right, okay, well, months upon months. But the difference is Scott Brown doesn't like talk like a big man on social media. I seen the other day Todd Cantwell was replying to hate comments on TikTok or Instagram.
Okay, cool. Nah, he does act a bit the fool, but a lot of the stuff abuse he gets for on the pitch antics, I think if he was bald, he wouldn't get it. I know that's a bit silly and it's not really
No, no,
journalistic.
That's pretty silly.
it's an interesting theory though.
Yeah, but aye.
I apologise to the viewers you had to hear that nonsense.
All right, I think that's a good place to wrap it up, don't you?
Yeah.
It's been good.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
I've got some rumours for Celtic that I could go through. Nothing concrete, but I've got a few here that are a wee bit exciting. We're looking at a Costa Rican striker, apparently, Andy Rojas from Heredanio in the Costa Rican league. The club president has come out and valued him at 4 million. He became the youngest player to appear at Copa America for Costa Rica this tournament. He looks like an exciting striker. We could maybe go for and maybe replace O, who looks to be on his way out for 4 million to Genk. Apart from that, in this central defence, we're looking at Dara O'Shea, apparently from Burnley. He's only had 1 year at Burnley after moving from West Brom, but I don't really see that deal going through. He just signed last season for 8 million. He's still got 3 years.
See on that link there, I don't mean to sound like just like dismissing it, but that just sounds like he's Irish, let's link him to Celtic rumour.
Yeah,
It
possibly.
happens every year.
Yeah, that's what Celtic have got though. That's the kind of rumours we're getting here, where we're just getting to the kind of he's just been relegated. He might want to come to Celtic, even
Yeah,
though I've priced out of him. Same like many of the goalkeepers we've been linked with. Like with Dominic Livakovic, which was a non-starter as it has been the last few times. But I do see a chance of Martin Dubravka come to Celtic, although it's not really the angle of player I want to sign. As Newcastle have just signed 2 backup goalkeepers, so he looks like he'll be on his way out. But
hmm
apart from that, not much. There's been a few outgoings. Rocco Vata's having a medical with Watford. Sead Haksabanovic is obviously already away to Malmo. And apparently Celtic have knocked back a Southampton offer from Matt O'Reilly, which is apparently £10 million short of Celtic's valuation. That's
Okay.
a bit out all as the Celtic news or rumours.
All right, I think we'll wrap it up there for the Dugout episode 7. It was a bit Rangers heavy, I'll say, and maybe a bit controversial with me comparing Todd Ganwell with Scott Brown, but I'm sure I'll hear about that one. But it's been thank you to my two co-hosts, Laurie and Ethan, for coming on again and making the podcast what it is. Thank you to you, the viewers and listeners, for tuning in to listen to us three idiots chat absolute rubbish. But it's been fun as always. Check us out on Twitter at the Dugout 2024. We'll try to be more active. We haven't been as active as we maybe could have been. But yeah, we post about news on there and try to interact with our followers and you guys. Please interact with us in the comments section, all that good stuff. Yeah, once again, thank you so much for listening and watching, and goodbye.